told them I'm adopting both you guys. Okay. So she is my sister. And when I see her mother, I say, hello, Mama Matthew. So thank you to them. And with that introduction, I'm ready for the first poem. Okay. So what I want to do, guys, is I want to go ahead and read these poems to you guys so you can hear the author read them. And then what we'll do is we'll spend a few minutes talking about why this poem was written, the background, thus and such. Okay. All right. So, and this really happened. Welcome to the house. Standing at the threshold of mature living, ready to join myself till death does me part, to prosperity, gained through selfish pursuit. 650 miles away from all known to me in this world. But I've come prepared though. Books in one hand, whole heart in the other, and money in both, with arms extended, so as to prove my worth, or more precisely, to hold my spot in this my new house. Cramped in this roach motel of a room, like an index card in the middle of the pack, the heat is just annoying enough to continuously keep my brow wet, no matter how often I wipe it. Keep hearing my mother sobbing at her loss while steadily making the journey back. Nothing catches my eye until I spy across the hall from me. His mother arranges clothing in drawers. All of this bombards my spirit, and all anyone here can say to me is, "Welcome to the house." So that's my first poem, guys. So the background of what happened and why this poem was written. Again, I grew up in DC, and when it was time for me to apply to colleges, I applied to only HBCUs. And so I applied to Hampton Institute, I applied to Howard University in Washington, D.C., I applied to FAMU in Tallahassee, and I applied to Morehouse in Atlanta, Georgia. Um, I decided on Morehouse because of the distance and because of the prestige. Um, and so my parents, even though they're divorced, they drop me off at school, and the plan is for them to drive back. It's a 10-hour drive. So I guess it's a Monday morning and it's like 9 in the morning. And they drop me off at Morehouse. I'm at Mays Hall 115, Shabazz Shabazz. And I'm ready to go. I got my boxes, I got my suitcases, and I'm unpacking. I'm good. Some of you know I was a camp counselor for many years. So over the summers in my adolescence, so it's not really my first time being away from home, so to speak. But I was good until I looked across the hall and I saw what turned out to be a friend of mine later. His name was Mark Partee. I will never forget. He's from Baltimore. He used to drive me crazy because his house music was not going with my go-go music. And I looked across the hall and I saw Mark's mom putting clothes away. And it hit me for the first time in my life. I really was alone. And I broke down, but I got myself together. And the whole concept of just Atlanta being hot, I couldn't catch my breath. I was sweating. And everybody there is just like, welcome to the house, welcome to the house. And it's just, for me, it was a juxtaposition moment of just like what I was feeling versus what everybody was saying to me. So that's the story behind welcome to the house. Okay. I guess, Madam Moderator, I'm not ready for the next one. All right, so this one is called Anything Like That. And I try to give you a little twist sometimes at the end of my poems just to make you think. And so let's see how you guys like this one. Anything like that. Being a Black poet, there are those dark times when the inspiration, friendly like, leans my pen toward topics that just ain't Black enough for my pleasure. Legions of blubbery, bald white guys badly blurring the Star Spangled Banner at ballparks in the dead of summer with overflowing cups of stale draft beer in one hand, mustard and relish filled franks in the other, flowed idly through my mind, hopelessly trying to forge themselves into a poem. Knowing though, a true Black poet would never pen anything like that, right? And so with this one, I studied English at Morehouse. We talked extensively about writing from the tradition. So we're talking about Langston and Dr. Morrison, Dr. Angelo, people like Zora Neale Hurston and Baldwin, and people like Ellison, the greats. And so I looked it up just to give you guys an idea of what it means to write from the tradition. It's pretty much defined as drawing on the rich literary oral heritage of African Americans for centuries. So again, just that passing down of the baton. So for example, I don't consider myself to be fully entrenched in that tradition yet with just one book out there. But if you want to get an idea of what I'm talking about, we're talking about like say Ta-Nehisi Coates out of Baltimore. He's writing from the tradition. Um, I don't want to make you guys unhappy, but Eric Jerome Dickey is not writing from the tradition. Okay, so we'll just give you guys that. Hopefully, you laughed and you're not mad. So, again, my poetry seeks to honor the tradition. I like to show the irony of what it is to be a black poet. So, again, with this entire poem, I'm saying, would a black poet write this? But I am a black poet. Is it okay to write about this? And again, I love mysteries. I think as far as this CLC and literacy, I think good writers are readers. I'm constantly listening to Audible because I don't really have time to sit down with books. But I love the writing slash directing slash producing of M. Night Shyamalan. And so just that whole twist at the end, I love it. I think that's the greatest thing ever to read a book. And my wife does not want to go to the movies with me because I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen the whole time and I won't be quiet. God bless her. And so, but again, if you remember M. Night Shyamalan, that would be like, say, The Sixth Sense, the movie. So you have the little boy talking about, I see dead people, and I hope I'm not giving it away, but at the end of the movie, Bruce Willis has been dead the whole time. So it's just like, that's the kind of stuff I like. So with that little ending right there, that's what I try to do sometimes in my writing. Okay. Thanks, guys. The next one, Miss Sheffield. Okay, this one really happened. And so I'm just gonna jump in and give you the background on to write a poem. Okay? To write a poem. Pushed up to this glass tabletop that's thick as the brown thighs on the sister in my recurring dream. Way down in this chair that must be straight out of the 70s. Feels like it's velvet or smooth, worn out corduroy. All we need is that painting of everybody slowly grooving from good times. Then we be set. I got Coltrane spitting out sultry sweet sounds not even arm's distance away. It ain't too loud though. Wouldn't want to kill this fragrant study mood. Hanging over me so low, I feel the shade it generates touch my forehead. This euphoric feeling profoundly stretches so as to fill my apartment and seep as well across the hall to the young lady from my hometown's pad. My room dog gets a call from his lady, as usually happens this time of evening. Study Darn phone breaks the study-filled silence, rings loud enough to rudely awaken me from this lazy trance. I look up and listen in on what is to me a one-sided conversation. I smile. Inspired to compose, I think of this experience, which is mostly a daily occurrence, and my little life doesn't seem so bad at all. I put down my homework and began to write a poem. So again, with this one, it really happened. It's about my room dog. Shout out to John David. If he's in here, I love you, bro. Um, it's about just the whole concept of telling you I'm gonna write a poem, and then you realize that's the poem I'm writing. With this one, and somebody tell me if my roommate is in here, so I won't tell too much. Morehouse was tough financially on us. Some of our friends was rich. Some of our friends were rich, and I was okay. We loved them, but my roommate and I, we worked part-time and we had an apartment and we went to school full-time and we struggled. Um, and sometimes we didn't always have people because our parents were regular middle class adults. We didn't always have anybody to call home to. Our parents, they did their best, but again, they didn't always have it to give. So being at Morehouse was stressful. Like honestly, I was homeless for a few days, but I had to stay with friends until I had to stay with friends until housing came in for me, my first apartment my sophomore year. And so, but again, my room dog and my friends, especially my rum dog. He told me sophomore year I said I wasn't coming back to Morehouse. And he was like, Jay, I need you to get in the car and drive to Atlanta. I said, but we don't have da 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 da. He said, get in the car and drive to Atlanta. And to this day, one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. And so he is the roommate that I'm talking about when I say to write a poem. And the thing of it is though, it was always stressful, but as I'm thinking about writing this poem, I remember the moment when I smiled and I was like, it's not so bad. And to me, that's always God saying that he's in control and it's going to be okay. And 25, 30 years later, here I am, married, gainfully employed, master's degree, wife and children, picket fence, two dogs. Anyway, I'm going on. So, so that's the story. That's the story behind that one. Okay. All right, Worth. This is my Black Power poem. Okay. And so I'm gonna jump in with this one. Okay. Worth. The other night found me home, blindly studying my brother Amir Baraka's verse potent, while Alex Haley's roots glowed out from the screen, staring me blank in the urban face. Thing is, I was vibing. I mean, Kunta had the whole Sterling Brown thing working, inching along, en route toward evident freedom, about to silence my gray storm clouds by breaking the monstrous white man's shackles. Man, this new age brother of a struggling student was cheering the Mandingo warrior on. And all this between catching snatches of a poem patchy, but somebody out there must understand. Man, I was digging the verse and feeling the struggle, thinking if it was me, yeah, my name would be Kunta to the end. But then the thought grazed my temple, slowly, coldly. If all my warrior talk was true, none of us dark peoples, would have been pleasure to feel Jordan, Hughes, Satchmo, King, or the poet Brother Baraka, of which I ain't worthy to visit even now. I must have seen that daggone movie a million times, maybe, but I never been so glad he said Toby until now. So, Worth. Okay, so I'm gonna share this one with y'all. There is a notion attached to the middle passage. It's been said that various times the enslaved peoples got word of where they were going and what their fate would be. And so you have to imagine all our people on the bottom of a boat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and maybe when they get to the top deck, knowing what they know, they choose freedom over servitude. So the actual notion says for those who chose the sea over servitude. The idea that our ancestors would choose death by ocean rather than enduring bondage and North American slavery. I titled this Worth because, as you can see in the poem, and if you've seen Roots, Kunta goes through the whole thing of they want to name him Toby. And he's like, no, I'm Kunta Kinte. And like the whole movie, he runs away, they catch him repeatedly. They chop his foot off. It doesn't matter. And it's like really at the end of the movie where he kind of like will acquiesce to what the white man is trying to get him to do. So I often wonder, my family lineage has actually been traced back to my first slave ancestor, from Barbados. I wonder, was it worth it to him? Because I know at some point in time, that slave ancestor had to make a decision not to choose the ocean over servitude or not to self-harm. So imagine if Kunta Kinte has self-harmed. There will be no Alex Haley and we wouldn't have Roots. So again, this one really happened. I'm home studying, I'm watching Roots, and I really was happy that he did it. And I pray each day that I live up to what my ancestors had to go through so that I could be here. So that's why I call that one Worth. It's one of my faves. Okay. Am I doing okay on time, Madam Moderator?
You're doing great.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna read this one, and then we're gonna talk about one last one. All right. So seeing, thinking. Yes, it's a love poem. Every time I close my eyes, I see you, think of you, alone, standing over there. Yeah, over there, without no one. Way over there. Looking as if this patterned world won't stop. if you don't stop fronting and return my melting affections, even though you know it's about to happen, simply because you were made for me like fresh baby powder for old sneakers, or more like a philosopher for a dub sack, on a night when this black, light freckled sky don't end, and I can't tell where, when this near my own, your nurturing brown body begins. Be my companion. This is an idea piece. It's not about anybody, but it was written years before I met my wife anyway. But anyway, so I love you, baby. All right, last poem, Madam Moderator. I will discuss this one. This is gonna be my capstone for the night, guys. All right, and so before I read this one, I will say, not to toot my own horn. I wrote this one, I believe, my freshman year at the house, and this is when I first knew that I was kind of dope. All right, here we go. The Dark Knight. In the beginning, God stood upon the face of the deep darkness. He emancipated the darkness from the light, and he called the darkness night. I am the physical manifestation of the night. Stars, spangled as far as the eye can see, freckle my scarred face and contrast my heavy exterior. Thousands and thousands upon thousands. Eternity above at the reach of my hand, the earth only a thought away at the palms of my feet. Heavenly bodies joined in formation, levitate and circle my torso. And hidden in my bosom are the tears of my people, plentiful like the grains of the sands of all times. We have trod eager paths, laid with injustice, humiliation, and degradation. But as sure as there is day, there is also night. And with God on my side, one day I'll reach the end of my tedious journey. When I arrive, I'll be warmly greeted by the extended arms of complete darkness, and I will again become part of what I once was, the night. All right, so here, this is one of my race poems. Again, this is and if you have my book, the first poem in my book is called Black Like Me. So this is one of my poems that really talk about like what it is to be black. Um, this poem to me makes me think about mitochondrial Eve. My science people know that the first ancestor of the human race looks just like the majority of us in this zone tonight. Um, just like Jesus was brown and we're brown and mitochondrial Eve is brown, and we know that civilization began in Africa. So when you tell me that all that is black or dark in this world is bad, I rebuke that statement. Amen. To me, if you think about my cover of my book, the black woman is God's greatest creation. For she is the mother of all flesh on this earth. Um, and the butterflies on my book cover represent ideas and thoughts coming from the majestic mind of the black woman. Um, I will leave you with this. Before God created light, there was only darkness. And I challenge each of you to show the world that darkness in all things is not inherently evil or bad. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys. This has been a blast. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. Woo, okay. Let's let that all soak in. And if you can react in any way, you can put some snaps in the chat. If you have your react button, we can clap. You can put some hearts up. Let us please shower our keynote speaker just for a minute. Let him sip some water because he dropped some gems today. Yes, thank you. Please, 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 Jared, take a look in the chat. It is pouring in for you right now.
Thank
I
you, guys.
mean, I think we all are just kind of, I know I'm sitting in taking it in. I mean, you took us from one level to the next level to this level, all of that. I know I have some things that I want to pose, but I do want this is a conversation. So, let's pause. Take it in. I had to, if anybody, you're going to get an opportunity, if you haven't already, to grab your copy. I have my copy of my book here so I can follow along. But yeah, let's go to the chat for a little bit. Either the chat, if you all know how to use the hand raise feature, or if you want to just unmute, of course, I believe the recording piece, I'm going to stop it for a moment so we can now go into